Okay, we'll call the Agenda and Priorities meeting to order for November the 7th. We'll begin with a land acknowledgement. The town of Innisfail acknowledges that we are meeting on Treaty 7 territory, the ancestral and traditional territory of the Blackfoot Confederacy. We acknowledge that this territory is home to the Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3 within the historical Northwest Métis homeland. And we also acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis and Inuit who have lived in and cared for these lands for generations. We make this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation and gratitude to those whose territory we reside on. We will move into 2.1. Any additions or deletions? No? Okay, could I please have someone make a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll move that.
Thank you, Councillor Bates. All in favor? Okay, and we will move into 3.1. I'd like to welcome the Innisfail Historical Village to come forward and look forward to your presentation today.
Good afternoon, everyone. How does that sound? I'm not screaming. Before I get started today, this isn't necessarily lengthy, but there's probably more information that you maybe need. There are some new members on council who maybe don't know about the history of the museum, and I wanted to share some information with you today. So if I could proceed. Good afternoon, Mayor Barclay and council members. My name is Anna Lenters, and I am the board president of the Innisfail and District Historical Society. May I introduce Sherry McIntosh. Sherry is our office manager. She has been busy bringing our operation into this century. Think about that. Because of her, we now have a POS system and an updated Facebook presence. We will soon have a new website. The Society was incorporated January 19th of 1970, making us 52 years young. Our mission statement reads, safeguarding the preservation of the history of Innisfail and District. We are members of the Alberta Museums Association. As members, we follow the standards established by AMA, such as the method of accessioning, record keeping, and management and care of collections. These standards are a constant, but the museum industry is again changing. We must try to keep up with advancements in technology in order to communicate. The public looks to museums to exhibit, educate, and honor different segments of society. A current example would be Indigenous Truth and Reconciliation. We do this to the best of our ability with little guidance or additional funding. 2022 has been a very busy year, and as always, it has been a pleasure to serve our community. I'm going to list some of the things that occurred. Snow and tumbleweeds, 400 guests, and it was a pleasure to work with Kane Williams. Opening and day-to-day operations, school programming, Canada Day celebrations, 856 guests. Thank you, Rotary Club. The Queen's Platinum Jubilee Tea, Friday teas, then sadly, the Queen's Memorial Tea. Sunday on a Sunday through the month of August, a Hocus Pocus tea. The front gate is now close to completion. A big thank you to the Bowden work crew and the town of Innisfail. The Society now faces some financial challenges. We did not qualify for the Canada Summer Jobs. Our operating cost increased, partially due to inflation. Our shortfall going into 2023 will be approximately $25,000. This represents 20% of our operating budget. We have a current budget that will cover our monthly expenses, pay our power bills, and it allow us to open in May of 2023. We do, however, lack emergency funds and the cost of restoration and conservation of the collection. A time-sensitive example of this would be the spruces. The spruces has been inspected and the logs are deteriorating. It would cost $100,000 to restore this important structure. Shocking, isn't it? The Society has not had an increase in yearly funds from the town of Innisfail in 6 years. We are respectfully asking for a cost of living increase or an amount that is deemed reasonable. The asphalt walkways on the grounds are buckling and are now a tripping hazard. Next spring, we would like to see them inspected and possibly repaired. The town of Innisfail is our primary strategic partner, and we value this relationship. As always, we thank you for your support over the years, and I'm open to any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you very much. And I'll open it up. Does anyone have any questions? No?
I do.
Okay. Councillor Messaros?
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. Yeah, I'm one of the new councillors, so thank you for providing all that information. I missed the part where you said you've got a shortfall of $25,000, and what portion of your budget is that, did you say?
That would be 1/5 of our budget.
Okay, and when you say that the town of Innisfail is your primary strategic partner, does that mean that, what does that mean in terms of your budget and funding?
Currently, you provide a little over 1/5 of our budget. We receive about $27,000
Okay, thank you.
on any given year.
Thanks, and congratulations for all your accomplishments.
Oh, thank you very much.
And, oh, I'm sorry, Councillor Wing?
That's fine. Thank you, Mayor Barclay. Thank you for your presentation. A question for you regarding the Canada Summer Jobs Grant. When you said you didn't qualify for it, it was just simply that you had applied and there just wasn't enough funding. Did you actually go ahead and hire students and with your own budget?
Yes, we did.
Okay, thank you.
You sometimes don't get that information until after the fact, and you still have to open, and it's life as normal.
So, Anna, you mentioned that the 25,000, is that like what you're hoping for from the town for this year, or is that less than what you need?
Mayor Barclay, do you mean over and above the normal that we would be receiving? Over and above?
Yes.
No, we're not specifying an amount. How can I put this? This is something that we'll continue to work towards resolving. But if we can see a cost of living increase, because it has been 6 years, so we've been absorbing this all this time. We've now just reached a wall where we can't do it anymore. Or whatever is deemed fit by council.
And are you getting funding from other sources, like other levels of government?
Yes, we just received an $8,000 COVID recovery grant. Sherry's been applying for all kinds of grants, and her grant writing skills are wonderful.
Okay. So, Sherry, I guess I would ask them, like, how many grants do you apply for, and what is the success rate? Because I know it can take up an awful lot of people's times writing grants, and it's hard to run an operation hoping for money to come in.
Right. We're currently waiting on hearing about an operational grant from the Alberta Museum Association, and we're just continuing to apply for more grants. So it's going to be some time before we actually hear about any of them.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Councillor Bates?
Yeah, I'm just going from memory. The federal grant that you didn't get, that sort of became one that you came to rely on. Is that a fair statement? And
Yes.
so you won't know, you'll apply for it again and you won't know if you're going to get it until next year, right?
Could you speak to the second grant?
So we're going to be applying for that shortly, the Canada Summer Jobs. We're also going to apply for the Young Canada Works grant, which, as far as I know, has not been applied for by the Historical Village in the past years. So we're going to be applying for both, which can cover our students, hopefully, this summer.
Well, and hopefully that's only a short recess from the feds, because, again, I'm going by memory, but they used to come to the party really well, didn't they?
They did. I think just about every year Innisfail Historical Village has gotten what they've asked for. I know there was, in a meeting with the Central Alberta Museums Association, there was a lot of museums that have always gotten it in the past that didn't get it, and some museums that got extra, like Dixon received funding for 8 students, which they didn't even ask for, and were only able to hire 4. So
No rhyme or reason.
Thank you.
Councillor Heistad?
Yep. No, I want to thank both of you for your work the last year that I've been on council, and Anna, especially, looking after being in charge. I guess my question would be around families donating or getting more in kind, not donations to the village, but maybe funding that, you know, somebody passes on, or if those kind of legacy type opportunities. Have you looked into that? That's the only question I would have.
Yes, of course, thank you. It does occur. When John Thompson died, when some other family members have died around town, families have collected funds, and we've been the recipient. I would say they've been very generous over the years. I can't give you a whole dollar amount right now as we speak, but they have. And some of them, well, the Thompson family in particular, Barb Thompson, still comes in every spring with a check in kind to be used towards the Sinclair House. Thanks.
Okay, anything else? No? Okay, well, thank you so much for coming, and as Councillor Messaros said, thanks for everything you do there. It's a great facility, and it seemed to be a busy place this year, so.
I'm happy to say it was.
Yeah, that's good.
And the energy was good.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was awesome. Okay.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. So we will move on to 3.2 with Director Vickers and the Municipal Indicator Report.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. So this report is to provide council with the results of the 2021 municipal indicators. So beginning in 2017, Alberta Municipal Affairs began reporting on a new performance measure. This measure identifies the percentage of municipalities deemed to not face potential long-term viability challenges based on their financial and governance indicators. So this performance measure was developed in consultation with stakeholders and is used as a benchmark for measuring the ministry's efforts to ensure Albertans live in viable municipalities and communities with responsible, collaborative, and accountable local governments. So the performance measure is based on an analysis of 13 municipal indicators, with each of the municipal indicators having a defined benchmark. A municipality is not deemed to face potential long-term viability challenges as long as it does not flag a crucial indicator or 3 or more non-crucial indicators. So I did put the list of of all the indicators there, and we can go through them. Kara, if you'd like to bring up the other document that has the explanation of the 13 indicators. It should be that one there, yeah. So the first indicator is the audit outcome. So an audit report in the municipality's audited annual financial statements. And the result that is expected by municipal affairs is that there is not a going concern or denial of opinion. And we have passed that in flying colors. So the next one is just ministry intervention. And what that means is if the municipality was subject to a municipal affairs intervention, which we were not. So the tax base balance, so this is the proportion of the total municipal tax revenue generated by residential and farmland tax base, regardless of whether it is municipal property taxes, special taxes, or local improvements. So they look at between the residential versus non-residential. If you have too high of residential and non-residential, then they see it's potentially a risk for that. So tax collection rate, so this is just how quickly we're collecting our taxes. So as long as we're at least 90% of the municipal taxes being collected in any year, then we're good with that one. So they'll also look at your population change, and so the change in population of the municipality over the past 10 years based on the municipal affairs population list, and that the fact that it has not declined by more than 20% over a 10-year period. However, summer villages would be excluded from this as their population changes drastically throughout the year. So the sixth one is, it's called current ratio. So it's the ratio of current assets, which is cash, temporary investments, and accounts receivable, to current liabilities, accounts payable, any borrowings, current repayment. And then the ratio of current assets to current liabilities must be greater than 1. So that just means that we have enough money to pay off all our liabilities. So the next one is accumulated surplus deficit. So the total assets of the municipality net the total debt, which we have a positive surplus, so we're above 0. We actually have 0, so no deficit. On-time financial reporting, this is just a yes or a no, whether it's completed on time, which we were as well. Debt to revenue percentage, so the total amount of municipal borrowings, including long-term capital leases, as percentages of total municipal revenues. So the municipality's total borrowings must represent less than 120% or 160% for municipalities with a higher regulated debt limit of its total revenue. The next one would be debt service to revenue percentage. Basically, the municipality's total cost for borrowing repayments does not exceed 20% of its total revenue. And those are very identified by the MGA that says we can only spend a certain amount based on our revenue. They also look at our investment in infrastructure, so the total cost of annual additions, either through purchases or construction, to tangible capital assets, so vehicles, equipment, buildings, etc. And they compare that relative to the annual amortization on all tangible capital assets measured as a 5-year average. So as long as the municipality's average capital additions exceed the average amortization, then we will be good. And there's 2 more. So one is infrastructure age, is the net book value of tangible capital assets as a percentage of the total cost. And it must be greater than 40% of the original cost. So the total life of our total assets must be greater than 40. And then the last one they look at is interest in municipal office. So they do look at the number of candidates just to ensure that there's interest, that the number of candidates must exceed the number of positions just to show that there's an interest. So the ministry compiles and verifies this data collected from Alberta's municipalities for the 2021 financial year. And the town of Innisfail did not flag any indicators for this year. So they do get this information from our financial information return, our submission by our auditors, as well as our statistical information return annually.
Okay, thanks, Director Vickers. I believe that you can go online and you can find this, and you can find other, like
Absolutely.
You can look up any municipality and see how we compare, and so, yeah, it's interesting information. I thought the tax base balance was extremely healthy, better than what I thought it was, so.
Yeah, Kara, I did put up a one page that has all of our results. And so this is kind of what it looks like. Every municipality you can pick, and it kind of shows a snapshot of every single municipality.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Councillor Bates, Wing.
2 questions. Does the Alberta government do some kind of a summary document there where they talk about what the health of municipalities in general based on these kinds of reports, or do they just do them on a per?
So Mayor Barclay through to Councillor Wing. So on their website, there's really no summary document that I could find. They did provide an Excel list of all the municipalities that you could look at and compare yourself to, but I couldn't find any summary type document.
Okay, and then just my final question, and then that would be through probably to CAO Becker. Do we use any of these indicators when we're planning from sort of that risk management perspective to say, like, keeping those indicators in front of us?
Mayor Barclay to Councillor Wing, not for the last few years. We built a business diagnostics model a few years ago, and we used this information to pull data from the whole organization and community, led into a sustainability document that was developed through previous employee Stuart Fullerton, and use that as the planning piece. And so we got away from that a little bit. We still apply the diagnostics in a certain way, but not through the full data implementation into the model. But yeah, so yes and no, but not less so recently than we did a few years ago.
Councillor Bates.
Yeah, one of my questions was answered. I didn't know you could pull up everybody else and look at them. But the other question I have is, are you tracking the trends? Like, year over year, and are you comfortable with where you think 2022 is going to be? Because we're 10 months through.
Mayor Barclay through Councillor Bates. So you can go back onto the site and they have every single year from 2017. So you could graph Innisfail specific data and see the trend for some of the numbers, right, and see how it is. I haven't yet looked at what I would anticipate they would be for 2022 yet, though.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? If not, I'll have somebody make a motion that will accept this as information, please.
Mayor Barclay, I would make the motion to accept this for information.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Okay, unanimous. And we'll move on to 3.3 with Director Vickers and the Heliport plaques.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. So this report is to update council on the heliport opening and review the plaque. So during the demolition of the heliport, the existing plaque had been lost. So we are looking to replace it. Since then, we've also had a request to include a recognition to Bill Newman for his involvement in the development and construction of the original heliport. Below are a couple options for council consideration. So we would want to include a statement along the bottom of the plaque, either the Rotary plaque or the town plaque. The town would like to recognize Bob Newman for his dedication to the development of the town of Innisfail Heliport. Or it could be a separate plaque with the same statement and possible picture. And then plaques can be built in bronze or aluminum. Bronze is 50% more than aluminum. And then below is a proof for the replacement plaque. So we're just looking for some discussion on whether or not council would like this kind of plaque or anything like that. Administration has also requested a proof for a new plaque. To date, we have received a donation from the Knee Hill 4-H Club as well as the Innisfail Rotary Club towards the heliport.
Are you able to enlarge those, Kara, so we can, they were even difficult to see in our package that we got, so it wasn't quite dark.
I can enlarge them, but I did try to do that earlier today, and you can't read it very well. Worse than that.
I'm wondering if we could, I don't know, is there a hard copy that would show it better that you could maybe give us at the next meeting? Like, it's hard to make a decision when you can't really see what it says.
Yeah, I can see what I can do.
Mayor Barclay, all I can say is that it does say that it's just a concept and it's not
Yeah.
the final draft for
Yeah.
approval or anything yet.
But it's hard for us to even make a comment when we can't
Yes.
really see it. And I've also suggested if maybe CEO Becker will reach out to Pat Newman as well, just to have a discussion with her.
Mayor Barclay, I know we don't often come to council with the wording of a plaque. I know we didn't do that for that playground, but I think we're sensitive to recognizing a community builder, Mr. Newman. We want to make sure council was aware of that and comfortable with that. But certainly if council wants to see the wording of the plaque, we'll certainly bring that back to you for final review. And we could do that at a future meeting. And if that's okay, if you're okay with administration proceeding with the recognition of Mr. Newman, you can certainly communicate that. It's either one, whatever you prefer.
Okay, so what you're saying is we don't need to see the plaque, it's more so the discussion around.
Yeah,
Around Bob,
only if you want
okay.
to, Mayor Barclay.
Yeah.
You want to see the plaque, that's
I don't-
totally okay.
okay.
We bring that back and you can look at it. But it's certainly sensitive to Mr. Newman or any other citizen when you recognize somebody without a clear policy.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you're aware of that.
Okay, for sure. Sorry, I misunderstood. Personally, I don't need to see the plaque. I trust you to do the plaque, but certainly in favor of recognizing Mr. Newman. Councillor Heistad?
Your worship, to CEO Becker, I'm good with the plaque. The wording, don't need that. I prefer the bronze, I think that's the more expensive one. I think they looks better, especially when we're recognizing individuals in our community. I think it's just classier. They last longer, I believe, but I don't need the wordsmith it. I think that as to naming anything though, as to individuals, I think that's something that community services is looking at, correct? On recognizing individuals in our community. I don't have a problem with Bob's name being on there. I think it's great.
Mayor Barclay through to Councillor Heistad. So we have actually just developed a brand new naming policy that we will be bringing out, and in that is discussion on who would have responsibility for that naming, whether that becomes the Community Services Standing Committee or whether that's council or a different committee or how that works out. So that will be brought to your guys' attention, I'm hoping in the next week or two as a draft, just so you guys can have a look at it. And then you can discuss those kinds of things.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I understand this isn't naming the heliport, it's just recognizing his input into it from the very beginning. Councillor Bates?
Yeah, I agree with the connection of Bob, having been the original Rotarian that really worked hard at the fundraising and coordinated it. In keeping with what we see daily in the news, I would hope we would look at a theft-proof type plaque. And yeah, I don't need to see the smithing of the words, but if it gave recognition to him originating the whole heliport, that would be great.
Councillor Dunham?
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. Covering all three considerations is, yes, absolutely recognizing Mr. Newman, I think is a good thing. I'd like to see personally on one, like I said, wordsmithing doesn't matter to me, but I think incorporation of one, you know, less likelihood of something happening, I don't know, two just, to me, makes it seem, one might be smaller or whatever, but I like the idea of one, and once again, I generally don't like going for, just for the sake of something being more expensive, but bronze, yeah. I'd like to see maybe what, you know, some feedback on what, or some information on what the longevity is of Libman comparative to bronze, but bronze is very classy, and that would be my preference.
And it was bronze, it was there, that has been misplaced. Yeah. Councillor Wing?
Just one more question, and in the absence of the policy, will we recognize Nehill Valley's donation as well on this sign somewhere?
Mayor Barclay through Councillor Wing, all people who did get a donation or did donate would be notified.
And then
On the
on
plaque.
Okay,
Yes,
perfect.
correct.
Thank you.
Councillor Messaros?
Thank you, Mayor Barclay, through to Director Vickers. I also agree with acknowledging Mr. Newman. The only thing that I have to say about the concepts as they're showing here, and I don't know if this actually translates to what they're going to look like, but it seems as though the content is very crowded. And is there an opportunity to get bigger plaques, or is it not going to look? Is it not going to look so crowded once they're done?
Okay, Mayor Barclay through to Councillor Messaros. I'm not sure. I can have someone reach out and see if we can get a larger size, just so that things look a little bit more spaced out and not so crowded. Yeah. However, that may also increase the cost then too, but.
Okay, well, thank you for bringing that forward, and I'll just have somebody make a motion that we accept this for information, please. Councillor Dunham.
move, Mayor Barclay, that we accept for information.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, unanimous, thank you. And we will move on to 3.4, the community app. And is that Shelby doing that?
So Shelby's gonna come
Megan is here,
and-
okay, I wasn't sure if Director
am here,
Jenkins
yeah.
was here. Hi, Director Jenkins.
Hello. Yes, so Shelby is going to come and she's going to display the app on your screen so you can see them. So just going back, so the community app was a project identified for the 2022 budget. Since that time, we've
Megan, can you hear us?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go without the headphones.
Okay, no. She is. Just one moment, please. Can you try again, please, Director Jenkins?
Yeah,
Okay.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I see Ken crouched over there. Are we?
What we're going to do is we're going to let you speak to it. I cannot do presenter mode and still hear you through this system. So we'll let you speak and then I'll switch it to presenter mode and then we'll bring you back in.
Okay, well, I won't take too much time, and Ken and Shelby can likely fill in all the blanks. Just reminding council, so the development of a community app was a project identified in the 2022 budget. Communication staff has been working since then with the app developer to put together what we have now, which is live on both the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. So depending on what type of phone you have, you can now download the app to your device. Shelby's going to give a bit of an overview of the app and give you an outline of how we're going to start marketing the app to the community on a day like today when it's very snowy. The app, this is one of the big reasons why we looked at the app, is the push notifications. So the ability to essentially notify people in real time of things that are going on in the community, that those can go directly to their phones. So I'll turn it over to Ken and Shelby and they can give you the sneak peek.
Thank you, Director Jenkins. There we go. So this is our community app. Like Director Jenkins mentioned, we are starting to do push notifications for snow removal. So far it's been working great. With this app, we've got different menus within it where people can view our events. Right now, unfortunately, my iPad is not connected to the internet. Let's see if I can fix this.
So wow. Sorry, do you want me to just jump in?
Sure.
Okay, so just to give you a little bit of background, we did do some beta testing around the staff, so people within our internal community had a chance to offer feedback on the app. So we did make some changes based on those suggestions. With each of the icons that you see there, some of them drive back to pages that are on the website, but other ones are actually housed within the app itself. And that was done at the suggestion of the app developer. For each one, there were specific nuances that for some it worked better to have it going back to a web page, whereas with others it was a better idea to house that information directly within the app. So are we good?
Yes.
Oh, we're good. Okay.
So through the app, this is one of the examples of where we'll take you to one of our web pages. This is where people can submit their events, also check out any of the events that are happening on certain days. We also have our news page, which it will update, I believe, every hour. It will look to see if we've posted a new news story, for example, our council highlights or any kind of news release. They will be all under our latest news tab. We also have our locations, which will take us to all of our facilities, parks around town. We've also got campgrounds, lakes, more parks, as well as our trail system map on here as well. that will show where all of our maps, all of our trails are within town. We also have a page dedicated to council and council meetings. People can watch the council meetings within the app as well, because it will take them right to that web page on our website. This also houses, under recreation programs, it houses all of our information about all of our specific recreation programs. One of our more popular ones is the swim lessons, so they can go right in, they'll see all of our swim lessons, which is also on our website.
Shelby, can I just interrupt? In there, like, would people be able to sign up for swim lessons through the app as well?
I believe that there will be links within those specific pages that will take them to sign up as well.
Okay.
We also have our transportation page for Pace Transportation and taxi services. Our garbage and recycling page, it will take you to, it'll show images of what's the scheduled pickup days, their pickup schedule, accepted items, as well as more information about the waste transfer station. And I'm going to assume is going to become one of our more popular pages with snow removal. We've got our snow removal route, which shows our priority snow removal routes. This one we just updated today with all of the upcoming snow removal schedule, all the routes that will be plowed out in the next few days. Just typical bylaw information and more frequently asked questions about snow removal. We also have a direct link to our e-billing on here as well, so people can go in through the app and they can make their payments. Links to a few of our social media pages. And then we have a contact us page where they can report an issue if they see something. We will receive that and fan it out to designated departments. We can also receive app feedback on how well the app is responding for people and how it is easy to navigate. So that will come to both us as well as our app developers, so we can always improve the app if need be. And then all of our notifications, we can see all of our notifications that we have sent. You can see the one that we sent out earlier today about snow removal schedule. And then settings is just depending on the user. They can go in and change their settings. And that is our community app.
Well, it looks awesome. Congratulations. And yeah.
So that's available to download through the two-star. I think, did you mention that already?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Oh,
Look at
perfect.
that.
Everyone's on it.
So that's good. There was one more thing I was going to say and I've forgotten.
So when you do sign up with the app, it will ask you which area of town you live in. That way that when we start getting used to the push notifications a little bit more, we can target specific areas of residents in those specific areas with push notifications, so not everyone in town is getting them. If it's a water main break in a certain area in town, we can just send that push notification to those residents instead of letting everyone know and be inundated with notifications from us.
I remembered. Do you have the graphic of the social media campaign that we're going to start pushing out? So the next step now is for us to use our regular communication channels to push out the fact that these apps can be downloaded, that they're live. So we are currently sitting at about 35 people that have downloaded the app, and we can track the analytics and the number of downloads through our app developer, so we'll continue to do that and adjust our advertising accordingly. So
Yeah, it's great. Like I said, thank you and congratulations that here we are, 2022.
yeah.
Any comments, questions? Councillor Wing?
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. To submit an event on the calendar, Is it automatically loaded, or does somebody in town, in the office then need to approve it? It comes back for approval, and so if something's put on, submitted on like a Friday afternoon, it won't be put onto the calendar until Monday?
Right, yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mayor
Nope.
Barclay, through to Councillor Wing. Yes, there is actually an email that gets sent out, so we have to approve it through a link on that, in that email.
Okay.
So, a lot of times, we have our emails on our phone, so it's just a matter of clicking on the link and approving it. If, so, we don't have a lot that come in, but yes, if they do come in at like a Friday at 5 o'clock, you know, if we happen to see it, we might approve it on the weekend, but technically it would wait till Monday.
Okay, and so you just used an interesting word, and I'm just going back in recent history to other calendars. When you say, so you will be proofing it, so potentially changing the content of what's submitted?
Yes, we kind of do a scan, and if there's a typo, we'll fix that for an individual. It's important to note, we also do have on that calendar, there's a set of guidelines that we have that people can click on and read. So not everything that gets submitted to that calendar, sorry, thank you. Not everything that gets submitted to the calendar automatically goes on the calendar just because it's been submitted.
Okay.
There have been instances where we have had to decline items because they didn't meet those guidelines.
Okay, thank you for that.
Okay, Councillor Dunham.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. Through to Director Jenkins and Ken and Shelby, congratulations. It's very nice to see. I mean, I know that Ken and I had a conversation last year about community apps, and that community apps are usable and good if the architecture and the user experience and all that information is there, and if it's built out in a good way. And it really, from what I've seen, it looks like it's going to be a really good user experience, and I look forward to the different social media bulletin pages where people are asking questions about what the town has, what this is. It's not, you know, sometimes it's hard in a website to find that information, so it's great to see that they'll be able to go to this and, you know, be able to find it very quickly within just a couple of levels. For scalability of it, it looks like it's been built in that if, as new things come up, new, you know, maybe a rec center, different things like that, it'll be easily incorporated. Actually, you know what, I think that's enough. So, no, I think it's really wonderful what you've done, and I really look forward to seeing it out in the community. And once again, I love the fact that you're going to be able to push and target, because I think that's a really important part to it. So, awesome, good job.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I don't think we need a motion for this as information. Yeah, we do? Okay. I'll just, Councillor Messaros?
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. I'll make that motion.
Okay. All in favor? Okay. Unanimous. Thank you. And we will move on to 3.5 with Director Jenkins on residential land sales.
Great. Thank you, Mayor Barclay. I'll make sure. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, okay, great. So this is to request direction from council on some options for the marketing and sale of the remaining town-owned lots in Napoleon Meadows. So there's 17 lots remaining in Napoleon Meadows that are still currently listed with RE/MAX Central Alberta through January of 2023. The town has been approached by one of our other land developers about the potential to partner on the auction of a portion or all of the remaining lots that are in Napoleon Meadows. So that's sort of one topic of conversation and consideration. The other is that real estate listing. So the lots have been listed with RE/MAX since 2018. And that will be coming up in January. So what the options are in terms of council moving forward to either take that sale and marketing responsibility back on with the town, to leave it or to extend that listing for another 12-month period with RE/MAX, or go back out to the market. So really just looking for some conversation and thoughts from council with respect to those remaining lots.
Okay, thank you, Director Jenkins. Just trying to think back to our previous conversations around the real estate contract. Was there an expectation that we would open this up once this current contract came to an end?
I don't recall if there was specific direction. So in 2018, we did go out to a public process requesting proposals. So we could certainly look at doing something similar to that again, to put it back to the market. Or alternately, we could take that function back internally. You know, sales haven't been rampant, that it's a super active sort of ongoing thing. But yes, that I would think that being it's been a number of years since we were out to the market, that may want to be a consideration of council.
Yeah, I think we went twice to the market, correct? One time there was some offers, some proposals, and the second time, no?
Correct.
If I recall, yeah. Okay. Okay, Councillor Heistad?
Yeah, thanks for this, Director Jenkins. You know, being around, this seems to be bouncing around quite a bit. I was just curious about the list of lots of portion lots to be sold through auction, how that would happen, and then I would agree that, you know, having a new contract in place or options, you know, from what other realtors may want to come forward with would be good for us to review or to look at that, you know, through our lens once again. But I was curious about the auction. We just, and I, you know, for my past reference, it seems to be that we've taken on the lots, given them out, kind of bounced around from the past, and I find it hit and miss. So
Mayor Barclay, the nature to Councillor Heistad's question is the specifics to that proposal is in part of your in-camera discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Bates?
Well, given that last little piece, I think we should table what we can't.
Yep.
And see what that information is. I have had a couple of times different real estate agents say, when are we going to get a chance to look at it? And I had one builder actually ask me, you know, would the option ever exist that even though they had land, that they could potentially say, not only can we build on our own land, we can build on one of these town lots if you want to. And he couldn't see how to make that happen. So I think there's definitely...
I don't understand that, I'm sorry. What do you mean you can't make it happen?
He wanted the option to advertise that you could build on his lots, or he could build on one of the town lots, and that would be a seamless thing. And of course, that would have to be arranged and set up through the current real estate that we have, and complexities that I don't even profess to understand. But I do think we should do something new, look at it. Let's hear what we have in camera, and I guess back to Director Jenkins, how many lots have we actually sold since 2018? Do we know?
I would say 6 off the top of my head.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I have right now.
Yeah, and I would just, Councillor Harrison, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. I would echo those comments of Councillor Bates. I've had a number of inquiries from other real estate agents that they'd like to see it go open to the market to see about the proposals. Yes, we've done this a couple times, and we haven't had any uptake, but that's been over 4 years. Now it's a different ballgame, so I would suggest that, and we can have that discussion in camera, but I would certainly support going out and putting it to the open market. Thank you.
Yeah, I believe Director Jenkins, if I recall, we had an open process about 1.5 years ago, because I think we ended up doing the contract, so it expired around the time of the year where we had a little more time to deal with it. The last time it came up, I think we extended it because it was kind of coming up quickly, and we didn't have a lot of time to go back to the market, if I recall. And
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
I'd have to go back and confirm the dates. But yeah, it's been quite some time since we did the full open call for proposal.
Yeah, and I certainly don't mind going back to the market, but I think the last thing we should be doing is blaming realtors if lots aren't selling, because it's, sometimes it's just the environment we're in, right? When we had a pretty good year 2 years ago, and this past summer, we've certainly had a lot of inflationary pricing and building, and it's probably quashed some of the enthusiasm and whatnot. So we will wait for maybe the discussion later in the meeting, and then we can kind of go from there. Councillor Bates?
Yeah, I in no way wanted to have my comments reflect that I was blaming anybody at real estate. Thank you.
Yeah, that would be for myself. I was just commenting on the going back to the town, going back to the open market. So I look forward to the in-camera.
Okay, so we will, I guess, accept this as information for the time being. We'll have a motion to do that, and then we will discuss it later on. Councillor Dunham?
Mayor Barclay will make that motion that we accept it as information.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, carried, thank you. And we will move on to pre-budget planning with CEO Becker.
Thanks, Mayor Barclay. Just to introduce this topic, Council did make mention of another meeting to have prior to your budget meeting coming up towards the end of November. Administration is looking for direction on potential dates. What that meeting could look like would be to kind of go back to the initial meeting we had with you in September, share that information, also go back into your strat plan, and also lay it out more clearly what is the current work plan as the now, and what is the projected work plan as the next, and see how that ties over moving into 2023, and see if you'd like to adjust more the next. The now is in full play, but there may be some areas in your next of your priorities that you wish to either ramp up with additional resources or move along to make room for additional priorities. So we tidy that up so you can clearly see what is a work plan occurring right now in that workload, and also stuff that also blend in over to 2023. And if there's any gaps of opportunity for council consideration to add additional priorities. I just want to be realistic of the plan and the workload, and as you move into that budgetary deliberation. So, however, we do need some time, some dates, a date for you to consider coming around the table, whether it's after your next council meeting or the next A&P meeting, or some other date that fits your schedule. We'll try to make it work for you.
Okay, thank you. Do you want to have that discussion now about when?
Yeah, preferably, Mayor Barclay, if there's some ability to look at our calendars and look ahead, or...
Yeah. Okay, I will just say Mondays, probably after the meetings, probably won't work for me for the next 3 or 4 weeks. But another day would be okay, but I don't have my phone in front of me, so. Or maybe, Carrie, you could send out a doodle poll, pick some days, and send out a doodle poll in the next day or two and figure that out. Would that work? Kind of running out of time with
Yeah.
Energy Hub this week, and that work? Okay. Even if we had a short A&P or something, like, maybe after that, and can't stay too late. Okay, so we will move into 4.1 on the correspondence. A lot of correspondence. Anything, CEO Becker?
Yeah, Mayor Barclay, just want to, if we could go to number 2, Kara, just on the Policing and Safe Communities Committee, and just in support of my council appointed members. Just want to highlight the Place and Safe Communities Committee, Town Hall, of course, coming up on November 15th, as we know, but I just want to make mention, the minutes outline that the Alberta Crime Prevention Grant, which is, I talked to you about delaying the safe and well-being planning process till we heard back from the grant, and I said 10 days. It's now been a couple of weeks, but now we've heard that it won't be till January or February till we hear from the grant. So that is a deferral of that project into 2023, and the additional $20,000, which is in your 2022 budget. Also that the county administration reached out to the RCMP staff sergeants about the potential of having a regional policing committee. So administration is going to meet with county administration, to get a clear understanding of what they're thinking, and bring that back to committee onto council for either understanding or an advisory motion by the committee. But that's kind of what's in the play over the next few weeks.
Anything else in correspondence that anybody wants to highlight? Okay, I'll just have somebody make a motion then to accept this as information, please.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Bates. All in favor? Okay, unanimous, thank you. And then we will move into the roundtable discussion. Start with Councillor Messaros today.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. Last week was a busy week. We got to do the net zero workshop, which was excellent. And this week, busy week with the Energy Futures Lab. And it's my first official meeting with the Transportation Committee. And yeah, I think that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Heistad?
Yeah, I enjoyed the accelerator program. I also will be attending the Future Lab tomorrow. And then I want to thank Councillor Bates. I have a commitment with my father on Thursday, so he's going to look after my historical village meeting, which was canceled due to the weather last week. So that's my update.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Bates?
I don't have anything left. No. The transition accelerator last week was very good. I was impressed with the leaders' understanding and practicality of priorities and what things can be changed and what are more difficult. This week, the Energy Hub Roadshow, and I'll be on time if Councillor Heistad picks me up at the tire shop.
It's going to be nice.
And yeah, the Historical Village meeting. And actually, I think our upcoming events, a one-time change from the Water Commission. They're going into the third Wednesday instead of the second Wednesday.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Wing?
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. Yes, I, of course, participated with all of you in the Net Zero workshop last week. Fully enjoyed it. Learned a lot. I, too, was very impressed with the program and the facilitation. It was very informative. I know that you're mostly aware, but I am pleased to inform you that the Chamber of Commerce has successfully hired Michelle Andrushak as its new executive director. She started today. Michelle has been living in Rocky Mountain House, has worked, she was the CFO at the credit union there for a long time. She's got a background in communications, entrepreneurial training, women's leadership, and is the CEO currently of WOW, International Women in Business. So she will maintain her consulting business as well. So she will be present with us tomorrow at the Energy Futures Lab, so you'll be able to meet her. She's great stuff. And yes, and then this coming Wednesday, Chamber's November board meeting.
Great, thank you. And Councillor Harrison?
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. I also attended the Net Zero workshop, very informative. I'd just like to remind everybody that we have Remembrance Day services coming up on Friday, so please, if you can, make it out. It's a very important day, and I believe in all our lives. Also, this past weekend here, there was the town of Ponoka. They had to activate their emergency management center. They had that large accident just outside of Ponoka there, and they had to house a number of people. And I guess the question I have through to CAO Becker is we're prepared. If that happens, Antler Hill seems to be always in the news every time it snows. So we're prepared that we can handle 300 or 400 people if need be.
We are prepared. We have a system that's established. It's been a while since we exercised through tabletop that exercise, but we do have the components to plan and to lead through a significant event in our community.
Okay, well, thank you very much. That's it. Thank you, Mayor Barclay.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Dunham.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. And I as well attended the net zero changes, everything. James Meadowcroft was brilliant. I enjoyed his style of presentation. The information made me feel much more comfortable, which I think maybe wasn't necessarily what the course was about, but I hear from a lot of family, friends in the community about them not understanding what is to happen for 2050. And for me, the course showed me that the challenges are many, but there is going to be an information process that will help people feel more comfortable with what has to happen. I also will be attending the Energy Futures Lab over the next couple of days and really look forward to all that we'll learn at that as well.
Perfect, thank you. And I as well attended the Transition Accelerator last week. I was also half day at the Regional Vision for Nonviolence Conference. Thank you to Kristen, who's sitting with us today, and to FCSS for all the work they did and their committee for putting that on. It was a full house out at the library. And then the Innisfail Energy Hub this week. Also have Remembrance Day at Penhold on Thursday and Remembrance Day in Innisfail on Friday. So we will move now into a motion to go in camera, please.
I'll make that motion, Mayor Barclay.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?